يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا يا هلا يا هلا يا هلا يا هلا يا هلا يا
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to the program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's Let's Talk this Saturday morning. We're together till 10 o'clock and interesting discussions lined up for you. We're speaking to two authors. The one is in Toronto, Canada. He's our first interview for the morning, Azhar Laher, and we're going to talk about his book, Confessions of a Dad. We're also going to be talking to a young artist about her upcoming exhibition. Her name is Nadia Kassim, and we'll be wrapping up by chatting about bullies, bully-proof. That's the title of the book, Bully-Proof, and we're going to be talking about what makes a bully and how do you protect your child against bullies. So all of that coming up in the show. I do hope you're going to keep me company, and don't forget, as always, our giveaways in the show this morning. We'll be giving out a beautiful sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets, and we also have an AMLA hair hamper, all hair products in the hamper with compliments of AMCA, and then a couple of book giveaways, one of them being Confessions of a Dad. So do stay tuned, and if you give us a call on 011 086 7777, who knows, you could be one of the winners for the show today. In a minute or two, we're going to be joined by Azhar Laher via Skype from Toronto in Canada. But first, let's take a look at this clip on Azhar Laher.
My beloved children, I am writing this letter to you because I care so deeply about your future. There is so much I want to share with you and teach you. There are so many dreams and hopes I have for you. There will be a time in your life when you realize, amidst all your fears, anxiety, and insanity, that your freedom to live life on your terms is in your hands, and your hands only. The path to financial freedom is paved with a small number of simple rules. There are no guarantees, but if you follow these rules, you are likely to achieve what you want in life. Spend money on experiences, not things. Use money as a tool for your time freedom. Use your money to create memories and good times. Learn the difference between a want and a need. Understand that money cannot buy happiness. Your most valuable assets are things that cannot be bought. Live with integrity and value your character. Practice patience and delayed gratification. Understand what is your financial comfort zone. Yes, habits do matter, and beware of the Diderot effect. Have only one enemy and let that enemy be debt. Budget is not a bad word. Design the life you desire and let freedom be your goal. In the real world, there is no fairy tale ending. It is time to create your very own happily ever after. With love, Dad.
A beautiful, heartfelt message from a dad to his children. A beautiful legacy being left to his children and to the children of the world. Let's join Azhar Laher. He is in Toronto, Canada, to talk about the motivation around the book Confessions of a Dad. And this is what it looks like. And inshallah, we will be having a couple of giveaways of this book in the show today. All you need to do is call us on 011 086 7777 to stand in line for either the book or one of our wonderful hampers. Let's cross over to Azhar. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program, Azur, from a very unearthly hour in Toronto, Canada.
It's my pleasure to be here. Walaikum salam.
That clip was so heart-rendering. I mean, I was close to tears. And I wonder, you know, whilst writing this book, firstly, what was the motivation around the book? And every time you have to share your thoughts and the reasons and the motivation on writing the book, just how emotional is this for you?
It has been an incredible journey over the past 2 years. You know, the goal of the book is to help adults understand the value of money, and more importantly, understand the relationship with money. I wrote the book so that my kids develop healthy habits about money. Julie, I love my kids too much to let them develop bad habits that haunt them for the rest of their lives. It started out as a legacy that I want to leave my kids. And when I continued with my research, I found that there's so many families, so many people out there who could perhaps get value out of it. You know, to answer your second question about the motivation, you know, writing allows me to express my thoughts and ideas without boundaries. Wonderful outlet for me. I wrote the book because I wanted to express myself, and as you said, leave my voice. I wanted to dig deep into an old topic with a new angle. I also wrote the book because how people around me are hurting when it comes to managing their money and finances and are afraid to speak about it. You know, most people are comfortable speaking about their money successes, but very few want to admit about money. I decided it was time to confess a few of my money mistakes. The book sums up what I want to teach my kids about finding happiness through financial freedom.
Okay, Azur, this is truly a work of love, a message for you know, your loved ones and for youngsters all around the world. But writing is not your full-time job. I know you're lecturing, so tell us a little bit more about what else you do in real life.
You know, I've been in the people business professional for the past 25 years. It is now an opportunity to give back. I teach full-time as a professor at one of the colleges in Toronto. I love what I do. I make a difference every single day. My goal is to perhaps change the mind of one student only, and that's good enough for me to be able to come home and say, "I had a good day today." And you know, for me, that's my motivation to be able to ensure that this new generation, this wonderful, new, bright, inspiring generation who cares so much about the earth and their fellow beings, perhaps can influence just a little bit by me. And that is what I teach. I teach because I want to.
Obviously, you had discussions with your wife and children. What were their thoughts at the time, and then post the book being published? How did they respond, and what did they say to you about the book?
You know, my children have been incredibly supportive. I recently had a book launch in Toronto about 6 weeks ago, and my daughter spearheaded the entire book launch. I have a number of roadshows, including my son's. They read and edited, played an important role in getting it to the publication stage. After a while, it became a they shared this journey from start to finish. You know, my son, tongue in cheek, said, "Your sequel going to be Confessions of a Husband or Confessions of a Dad?" Still don't understand the value of money. I now see the benefits, and I'm happy to see that my kids both manage their finances. And even though I thought they were not listening to messages, their actions tell me a different story. And I'm confident that to help understand manage their own money.
chapter in the book called Money Can't Buy Happiness. Now, we're all under this misconception that if you have enough or lots of money, you're going to live happily ever after. What do you talk about in that chapter? What's that important message that you're trying to convey?
You know, there's a famous quote that has been very misquoted, which is the love of money. What's it called? The root of money. Money is all evil. Sorry, but the actual quote is, the love of money is all evil. And there is no correlation between money you have and how happy you are. There have been many studies that show that people with very little money are far happier than people who have. There are many people who walk around with their wallets, and they're happy and they live they're excited and take moments in. And there are many people who have $1 million in assets, and they're really not happy because the idea of financial freedom allows you to make more choices. And happiness is not about money. It's about ensuring that you dictate your own time and how you spend money, with whom you spend your money, and how you wish to give your money away.
Okay, we're talking to Azar Lahir. He is based in Toronto, Canada. He is an ex-South African, by the way. Him and his lovely family decided to migrate many years ago, and they've set up home in Canada. And from what I hear, they very, very happily settled, have made wonderful lives for themselves, but still very much in contact with their loved ones back here in South Africa. We're going to continue our discussion after the ad break, and do remember, after we've talked with Azar Lahir, we will be taking calls on 011 086 7777, and that's when you can call in after the end of that interview to claim one of your prizes, which might be Confessions of a Dad, a copy of the book, compliments Azar Lahir all the way from Canada, or one of our sweet hampers from Broadway Sweets, or the oil hair care hamper from Amla. So do stay with us. We're with you till 10 o'clock this morning, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. This is Let's Talk for the next hour and a half at least, till 10 o'clock that is, of course. We're talking to Azar Lahir. He's based in Toronto, Canada. We're talking about his book, Confessions of a Dad, a legacy that he's left for his children, and I guess to the children of the world. I've read the book. It goes straight to your heart. You know, this is something really heartfelt. This is about a parent who wants to leave a legacy for his children and for the children around the world. And I think it's a must-have book. And if you'd like to get one of these books, I understand the books are available on Amazon, but if you'd like to stand in line to win one of these books, then call us in on 011 086 7777, and who knows, you could stand in line to win one of these wonderful books on the show today. We also have a sweet hamper and a hair care oil hamper. The sweet hamper is compliments from Broadway Sweets, and the hair care hamper is with compliments from Amka. Still to come in the program, we're going to talk to Nadia Kassem. She is a young emerging artist. It's great to know that we have such talent in our community. Now, not only Nadia, but a few other young Muslim ladies have got together and they are putting on an art exhibition at Constitution Hill, and that's happening in April. She'll be in the studio with us a little later, and she's going to tell us all about it. And then, of course, that dreaded word, bullies. Are you a bully? Is your child a victim of bullies? Well, that's what we're going to uncover in the show later on today. Not only are we going to talk about bullies and how to protect your children against bullies, we're going to talk about a specific book. It's called Bully Proof. The author will be in the studio with us. And once again, you could stand in line, hopefully, to win one of those books. So all of that coming up in the show today. So please call in. What are your thoughts on the show? Are you enjoying the show? Would you like to stand in line to win a prize? Then the line to call is 011 086 7777 to claim your prize. We'd like to hear your comments, questions perhaps, or also suggestions for future shows coming up right here on ITV. And this program, of course, is called Let's Talk. So get those calls coming in. Perhaps you want to ask Azar a question. We're happy to patch you through to Azar, and you can pose your question to him. Now, talking about the book Confessions of a Dad and future books, I wonder how many parents out there have thought about writing a book and leaving a legacy, not necessarily financial, advice, but whatever's deep in your heart. You want to leave something not only to your children, but to your family and the rest of the community. So maybe you want to talk about that dream of yours, the dream of writing a book and hoping that people respond well to the book that you've written. I've actually threatened for a long time that this is what I want to do, but I think it's a big deal because you're really putting a lot of yourself out there. You're opening yourself up, You're showing yourself to the world. And you make yourself vulnerable when you do that. So I think it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of courage to put your thoughts on paper. And even though it might be a work of fiction, I think a little bit of you creeps into the book. So have you thought of doing that? Well, let us have your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Lines are open on 011 086 7777. We tried to get Azar back online. We seem to have lost him, and we're hoping that we can reconnect with him because there's so much more I want to ask him about this book. Was there a specific event in his life that, made him sit back and think about, what is it that I tell my children? How can they always remember that I try to give them the best grounding in life? And I think whether you write a book or not, all parents want to do the best by their children. And you know what's so sad about the whole thing on parenting is that it doesn't come with a manual. And you want to do the best for your children. Despite all of that, in retrospect, you sometimes beat up on yourself and think, I could have and should have done things differently. But the good news is that we have Azar back online, so let's join him to talk about Confessions of a Dad. Azar, Assalamu alaikum, and back to you.
Salam, good to be back again.
Great. I'm wondering, was there a specific event in your life that made you sit back and think and decide, I have to write a book, I have to leave a legacy for my children? Because something didn't perhaps sit well with you, or you just wanted to leave your children with something of value?
There wasn't any one event in particular. Growing up, I never heard my parents discuss money or finances at all. My mother is a saver. My father is more carefree spender with his money. They both taught me the value of money, not formally sitting down and explaining what it meant. We had a comfortable life. Life. We never spoke about money. Many times stuff, I was never made aware of it. Father always focused on getting educated during a very difficult time in South Africa. So I suppose it's a combination of experiences. There's one particular event that shaped the book. When you become a parent, life changes dramatically, and want to make sure that they do not make the same mistakes you made growing up. And if this book will go a little way in helping make some of the mistakes I've made, then I would be happy with what I've done.
I often, when I talk to my children and try and guide them, my one son responded, please allow us to make our own mistakes. And I then in turn say, but your mistake might be very drastic, serious, or very expensive. So perhaps you should look to your parents for guidance. And you talk in the book about money and relationships. And that could be the deal breaker or deal maker as far as relationships is concerned. So what is it that you cover in that chapter?
I'm of the view relationships with people and is far more important than searching for money. How you deal with people, how you relate to people, how you respect people is far more important than the. And relationships with anybody will allow you to be able to focus your energies on something that's truly important. Money is an important part of what we do. We need money to survive, eat, whatever. If you make money your objective in life, I think you begin to lose focus. That is why I recommend to my children have relationships, because they can make you grow, they can make you happier. Money could be a one year next.
We are living in the instant age. Everything, but literally everything, is, you know, at the turn of a button. You talk about delayed gratification. How do you, how do you actually get that message across with meaning so that young people can understand the true value and meaning of delayed gratification?
We live in a world of instant gratification. We are surrounded by social media, by advertising, by radio, by television, and the children grow up with I want. And I think some lessons that you can teach your children about gratification is to be able to teach them about the importance of patience, allowing them to understand that if you really wait a few days or a week or months to get what you need, it will not make a difference. Peer pressure makes it. Having children grow up and having kids and friends have toys, electronic toys that they want today, and throw it out next week is something that we have to teach our children. That it does not help that credit cards make it easy for our children to purchase stuff without thinking of the repercussions of what they can do. I think the advice I would give is parents, do not be afraid to say no. No matter what your children, it can be a scary thing for parents to say no. We don't like to say no to our kids. It hurts us. But parents feel that sense of pain. But I think we have to be able to help our kids for the future to say sometimes no, and perhaps wait a bit before you make that buy that item that you don't need, and perhaps you cannot even afford.
So you're not going to believe this, but we've almost come to the end of the interview. My final question then to you is, I know you've dedicated this book to your children, but who should be reading it? Is the target audience young teenagers, young adults, or is this a book for the whole family, and why?
I would say, the answer is both. The book is primarily targeted, but parents can definitely benefit from the book. If you have an interest in life, to live financially independent, it is never too late to learn and understand manage your money. I have realized that most do not speak to their kids about money because they themselves do not understand how to manage their own finances. So I would suggest the parents read it, understand it, relate, and speak to the children some of the stories and some of the experience that I share with the children.
Azra, it's been wonderful talking to you. Shukran very much for being up at this unearthly hour of 2:30 a.m. Canada time in your part of the world to talk to us here in South Africa. Well, you're not only beaming to South Africa, but we are beaming all around the world. So shukran very much. And is there another book in the pipeline?
My son has his way. I think it's going to be one pretty soon. It's not the Confessions of a Husband. But probably something related to happiness and how to deal with it.
Shukran for talking to us. Go well. My love and salams to the family. Until the next time, assalamu alaikum to you.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for your time.
That was Azra Lahir in Toronto, Canada, talking to us about Confessions of a Dad. And I certainly hope you've enjoyed the interview. And as we've been announcing earlier on, that you could put yourself in line to win one of these books or a hampers, one from Broadway Sweets and one from Amca. All you need to do is call in on 011-086-7777. Share your thoughts with us, perhaps comments, questions, or also future shows that you'd like to see here on ITV. But do call us right after the ad break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. This is Let's Talk on ITV. I do hope you're going to stay with us till 10 o'clock. And a reminder, I do know some of you tried to get through earlier on to claim your prize and to share your comments with us, but you can try calling in now. The lines are open, 011-086-7777. Once again, a giveaway of this lovely book, Confessions of a Dad, by Azhar Laher, ex-South African, now residing in Toronto, Canada. And we have a wonderful sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets and a hair care hamper from Amka, and Amla hair care hamper from Amka. All you need to do is call in and claim your prize. But of course, we're going to want a comment or a question from you as well. So do keep us company till 10 o'clock. Right now, we have a young lady in the studio with us. Her name is Nadia Kassem. She's an upcoming, well, I wouldn't say upcoming, I think she's an established artist, and a very interesting exhibition that has been scheduled for some time in April. She's here to tell us about that and also her other involvement in the Irtika magazine. So wonderful young people in our community, and it gives me great pleasure to be interacting with them. One of them being, of course, Nadia Kassem. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam, Julie. Thank you for having me.
I must tell you a little bit about my thoughts on art. I think, unfortunately, our community, well, anyway, back in my day, we were not really exposed to art, so we don't really understand art. That doesn't mean that when I see a picture that appeals to me, it doesn't talk to me. It does. I'm attracted to beautiful pieces of art, without necessarily understanding the message that that piece is supposed to be conveying. And I've always promised that I'm going to start investing in art and, you know, start showcasing it in my home. But as a rule, do you find that our community, you know, haven't been exposed and should be, you know, start exposing themselves to art, appreciating art, and start, you know, displaying it in their homes?
Oh, definitely. Look, I think it's not just a thing of the past. It's even currently people in our community in particular, maybe just more so in South Africa, don't have really an appreciation for art, because they have more of an appreciation for science. Or, you know, when we were young, our parents always told us, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an accountant. That's the reputable kind of field to go into. And art was always sidelined. It was always looked at as just a hobby. Yet, you know, it's actually a very important part of society. Even if you look at art back in the day, a couple of 100 years ago, after Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam established Islam as well in the Middle East. If you look at Iran, if you look at Iraq, the history of art which conveyed the message of Islam is really, really strong. And what we see now decorated in our homes is very much Arabic calligraphy. You know, obviously it has its significance where we express Quranic verses, you know, through art and beautifying our home. But art has a deeper meaning. You know, it's a spiritual thing as well, you know, and we're trying to encapsulate, how can I say, Allah's beauty of nature sometimes in artworks. And art is a talent. And where does that come from? It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I think definitely our community needs to look at art in a more serious light, and needs to look at it beyond just the standard stuff that we put up in our home just to beautify it with verses of the Quran. They need to look at also the labor behind it and the talent that goes behind it and the message, as you said, that it has to convey.
And I think parents, perhaps even in this day and age, would try and discourage their children from going into that line of work or profession, simply because they realize that you've got to really work very hard at selling your work. It's a very competitive space, as is all other type of professions. But I think what parents want is almost a guaranteed job for life for their children. That is why they don't necessarily encourage them to go into that line of work. But how did it happen for you that you've now you know, you're an upcoming, emerging young artist in our community?
Look, you're very, very right. I think art in particular in South Africa, is a very exclusive, close-knit kind of profession. And unless you've done a fine arts degree or something like that, which can get you into art on maybe a larger scale in the bigger museum spaces or galleries, you will struggle a lot. For me in particular, I actually am a financial advisor, and I do art on the side. Art as a living in South Africa is difficult to achieve. But there are some people, like for example, one of the artists that will be exhibiting at the exhibition in Constitution Hill, she does art for a living. And the other artist was an art teacher, so they're really in the profession. I myself, I've had my sporadic exhibitions along the way in my throughout my career. But it is a tricky and difficult trade, but I think with the right support from our parents, with the right education and background behind it, we could take our art, especially in our Muslim community, to another level.
Is our community supportive of young artists like yourself, or is this something that you still have to promote in a big way to make people aware, hey, we are Muslim, we are young artists, support us, come in, let us teach you the appreciation of art, and get an understanding and start supporting not only us, but the art world in general?
Unfortunately, Julie, our people in our community, because they don't have enough education around art, or in a sense where they don't know much about, where it comes from, the field has not been explored. It is a struggling profession, right? And definitely there needs to be more of a support in our community towards young artists. I feel that a lot of young people, they have this talent for art, but they're too afraid to exploit, because there's no one who's willing to take them seriously. No one who's willing to say, what you're doing is actually commendable. What you're doing is actually a profession, not just a hobby, something that any person can just do. So definitely we need a greater support in our community, a greater appreciation for art, and an understanding of what goes into it.
If I now decide, as I said in the introduction, that I like looking at a beautiful piece of artwork, be it a landscape, be it flowers, or whatever it is, it gives me a sense of calm, a sense of peace, a sense of serenity, beauty, etc. Is there any other message that I should be deriving or looking for from that piece of art?
Look, there's different type of artworks, and there's different type of reasons why people paint. So, for instance, if we have our general Arabic calligraphy, which takes verses out from the Quran and beautifies, our holy scripture, obviously, I think there's a spiritual meaning to that. And then you get art that's, got images, whether it's a tree, whether it's a person, whether it's a flower, and that's conveying a completely different type of message. So I think each piece will have a meaning, but it depends on the context of that piece, and it depends on what you as a viewer how you relate to that painting. So what you see, even in an Arabic calligraphy painting, may be different from what I take from it. So each person, art is an individual thing, and it speaks to people differently. And most of the time, it's where you are in your life, what space you're in, and how you see the world. That's how you're going to interpret that piece.
So that piece will change for you through different periods in your life?
I believe so. I think so, yes.
All right. How did this all start for you? The art. And did your parents actually support you and encourage you to go that route?
Look, I was lucky to attend an all-girls school where I did art right through to matric. It was always my passion, it was always my love. But obviously when I went to university, I was pushed more in the direction of town and regional planning, which I got my honors in. And thereafter I said, no, you know what, I need to stay true to myself. And I took a gap year out of after I qualified, just to focus on art, and I had a solo exhibition, a private one, and that's where most of my paintings got sold. The next exhibition that I did have was sponsored by Joburg Art Bank. It was at the Old Sparks Gallery, and it was focused on Hajj, Hajj through the eyes of a woman. And the third exhibition that I have was hosted by one of our local art galleries. And it was basically launching Irtika, the magazine, as well. So for me, you know, and now we've got this exhibition that's coming up at Constitution Hill. For me, it's when I feel at that point in my life, there's a need to bring my art into the public, or where art can accompany a deeper message, like Irtika, which was the magazine. Now it's, you know, this exhibition at Constitution Hill.
We're talking to Nadia Kassem about the upcoming art exhibition at Constitution Hill. She'll be giving us the dates of that exhibition. We're also going to be talking about her magazine and other aspects of her life. For any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. The lines are open on 011 086 7777, but do call us after the ad break and stand in line to win our book giveaway, Confessions of a Dad by Azar Laher, or our sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets, or the hair care hamper from Amka. So all of that coming up, and we're waiting for you to call in to share your thoughts with us and to stand in line to win one of these prizes. Welcome back. Thank you for allowing us into your homes this morning. We are with you till 10 o'clock. This is Let's Talk. Do hope you're enjoying the program, and we do hope you're going to keep us company till 10. Lines are open on 011 086 7777. Lovely giveaways on the show this morning. A book by Azar Laher, Confessions of a Dad, a sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets, and a hair care hamper, an Amla hair care hamper from Amka. You can claim your prize by calling in on 011 086 7777. But remember, we need questions, comments, or even suggestions for future shows you'd like to see here on Let's Talk. It's back to Nadia Kassem. She's the young artist talking about art, her magazine, and life in general. Back to you. We've been alluding to this art exhibition at Constitution Hill. Tell us about it. I believe it's happening in a couple of days' time.
It's actually on the 7th of April. It's at 6 p.m. at Constitution Hill. It's actually called Unveiling the Hijabi. It's actually focusing on the different roles and identities of Muslim women in South Africa. It will also be focusing on the life and time of Fatima Mir, who was jailed at Constitution Hill. So it ties well into, you know, the women of the past. Who were they? Muslim women, how they contributed to art, as well as now how we as women today explore art in our environment.
Mm-hmm. Is this an exhibition by yourself, or do you have other artists exhibiting with you?
Yes, I do. It's have other artists, Gulshan Hussain and Aziza Asap. They will be also showing their works. We've all contributed art pieces, and then we're also going to have at the opening poetry recitals by a few poets in our community that focuses around women. There's also going to be one male poet, which adds dimension, you know, how does he see a Muslim woman. And then we'll also have Writing the Samusa Express, the book. We're going to have women who are going to read extracts from that book, which also focuses on the life of Muslim women before marriage, within marriage, and after marriage.
Mm-hmm. So is this open to the public, or is it an invitation-only event? It's
open to the public. Entrance is free, but we prefer people to RSVP for catering purposes via our website, Ishtika's website, and the Facebook page.
Okay, so what can we hope to see at the exhibition, bearing in mind that people like myself don't understand much about art? What can I expect to see when I get there?
Okay, look, the poetry, the readings, the talk of Fatima Mir, which is also going to be a tour given by Constitution Hill around the women's jail, and we'll also look at some of the pieces. That's going to be, you know, contributing or introducing the artwork that's going to be on display. So we'll start off with that in the program, and thereafter people will be taken through to the exhibition space where all the paintings are hanging, and they'll have a time to interact with other people, walk around, look at the paintings, ask the artist a bit about it, see how the paintings speak to them.
But the paintings, the art won't be on sale on that day. And also, even though the 7th of April is the actual opening of the exhibition, for how much longer is it running for people who can't make it for that specific evening?
Okay, firstly, the paintings, yeah, they can't be sold on the day, but we will have a price list, so we can reserve paintings for people who are interested in purchasing them. And the exhibition will be running until the 30th of April. That means within the 2 weeks, we will have walkabouts that will be arranged. People can either contact us via, follow our Facebook page. It will talk about when the walkabouts are happening. And if they don't want to join the walkabouts, they can go into Constitution Hill. It is free, just to have a look at the paintings. But the opening evening is very important because it's not just about the artworks. It's about celebrating all the other Muslim talent that we have out there, which I think is it's something that is great to explore.
Mm-hmm. Now, apart from the art that you're so involved in, you've indicated you've had a couple of showings before. This would be your 3rd or 4th exhibition. Alhamdulillah, we do hope that, you know, there's more to come in the future. You're also the editor of a women's magazine, I believe.
Yes.
Tell us about it. What's it called? How long has it been in publication? And who is your target audience?
Okay, the magazine came about in 2012, end of 2012. That's when I launched it. Irtika is a word that means evolution and progression in Urdu, and I chose that because I wanted the magazine to be not the standard Muslim woman magazine, but basically a magazine that focuses on giving women a voice, Muslim women a voice, exploring our local talent, exploring our rights in Islam as well, or educating women regarding their rights in Islam, and focusing on topics that maybe some people are uncomfortable talking about, you know, in marriage and that sort of thing. The magazine was in print for a while until I decided to go and make it an online magazine so that we can get a large target audience. And what we see, you know, obviously I can see in the background, there are a lot of people from the UK, from the US, and in the rest of Africa actually, and India in particular, actually tap into the magazine and read the articles.
Let's understand how's the online space different to a hard copy of a magazine. Are you able to cover your costs and make a profit going the online route?
Look, for me, Irtika was just, it's my kind of, how can I say, not a hobby, but it's my passion. So I don't look at making a profit off Irtika as a magazine. So a lot of magazines, online magazines, you would have ad space online, and you'll see mine doesn't. So it's just a pure love of mine that I do this. That's the project, the online project. The physical magazine, yes, it was more profit making because we would get a lot of ads from our local shops and people that wanted to basically showcase their products and so forth. So there was more of a profit making endeavor. But what I found is that the reach was very minimal because I could only get the magazine to certain areas within our community and certain shops that were willing to accept it. Now, as an online magazine, my target has broadened significantly, you know, and that's the whole purpose of the magazine. And I know some people are uncomfortable with the online space because, you know, they're maybe not familiar with it. But the younger generation, I find, are the ones that really this appeals to.
So would you know the amount of, I think it's referred to as hits, or people that visit, you know, that page and read the magazine? How many articles do you carry per issue?
What's happened when we had it in the print version, we used to have a quarterly issue. Now what we do is that as and when, monthly, we put up new articles. So I have a lot of people, even ordinary people, who come to me and say to me, you know what, I would like to explore this particular article. Is it okay? And that's the whole purpose of the magazine, is to give the average person out there the opportunity to discuss their thoughts with the public. So they come through, they send me an email, they say, I would like to discuss this particular topic, is that okay with you? Then I'll tell them, you know, send me your article, let me have a look at it. And obviously I pay them for their work, and we put it up, whatever we find is significant.
So it's not solely your work, you open to the general public, and whoever would like to have an article published, you know, after you have looked at it and decided that it is suitable for publication, edit it, and then you put it on,
Yes.
you post it on, so
Yes.
to speak. If you had, you know, you speak with much passion about your magazine as you do your art. If you had to make a choice, which would you choose to, you know, to be the number one feature in your life?
Oh, that's a very difficult question because they both are important to me. You know, Erotica is a written work. You know, it's something that appeals to my creative side of writing and conveying a message. And art as well. Art is my spiritual space. Where I can explore my spirituality. So really there is no choice. Unfortunately, I would have to say I would put them on the same level.
A lot of people watching us this morning either have always had a love for art but never explored it, or you know, love for writing. Young people as well who feel that they have got a talent in that specific area, but again, parents guiding them or, you know, veering them into a different direction. What is your message to them, and for them to get the support and assistance in those different areas, art and writing? Is there a space for them to go and to express themselves? So your message and perhaps direction as to where they could go to further enhance these skills within themselves.
Okay, first with the art, I think that if you can get your family's support to take up fine arts at university or at a college, then go ahead. If you can't, I would suggest that you get hold of other local talents, maybe within your own age group, or even get hold of a more established artist and try and actually have more of these type of events, like we've created the Unveiling Hijabi event. I find that when you collaborate with people and you bring, you know, each person brings their own set of followers. You know, you can create an event to showcase your art. And sometimes if you go to certain expos, or you just have to do a bit more investigation, or approach a gallery, ask them would they be keen on maybe keeping your work. Obviously they would ask for a cut from you, but there is ways that you can expose your talents. It's a bit more tricky with art. In terms of writing, there's a lot of local Muslim women magazines or Muslim magazines, Islamic magazines that you can approach. Maybe start for pro bono. Don't expect to be paid. You know, just go out there and put an article together. And also there's a lot of local South African magazines that you can also approach.
Well, it looks like we've come to the end of this segment of the program. Anything very quickly that you'd like to share with our viewers for the morning?
I'd just like to encourage them to please come to the exhibition. It's going to be something different, and I promise them that they will not be disappointed.
Nadia Kassem, wonderful having you on the show this morning.
Thank you,
lots
Julie.
and lots of success for the future in your art and in your writing, inshallah. And inshallah, who knows, I might just, you know, make time to attend the exhibition. In fact, I look forward to it. I just need to be reminded, I need to pencil it in. But thank you for your time. Assalamu alaikum to you. Okay, this is the last half-hour segment of the show coming up, and we're going to be talking about bullying. Is your child a bully? Are you pulling your hair out wondering what to do about that bully at school? Why is your child being bullied? Well, we're going to try and uncover all of that in the next segment with Gail Odore. She's written a book called Bully Proof. We're going to ask her why she's written the book and how it can help you and your little darlings, inshallah. Do remember, we still have all of those giveaways, so call in 011-086-7777. It's this lovely book, Confessions of a Dad by Azar Laher, a wonderful sweet hamper by Broadway Sweets, and a hair treatment, Amla hair treatment from Amca Oils. So all of that coming up. We're waiting to hear from you. Call in, the lines are open. We're back with you. It's the final segment on the show this morning, the final half hour. Let's talk with me, Julie Alli, and we're going to talk about something I think that is close to lots of parents' hearts. It's heartbreaking to know or to realize that your little darling is being bullied and he or she is helpless, probably won't even share all the trauma that they're going through, but you know the gut feel in a mom that something's not quite right with this child. What do you do about it? How do you support your child? How do you help him or her get over the hurdle? Well, we have an expert in the studio this morning. She's written a book called Bully Proof. We're going to uncover all of that in the next half hour. And a reminder that our lines are open now, 011 086 7777, to hear your comments and questions, but also to put you in line to win one of our wonderful prizes. This great book by Azar Lahir, Confessions of a Dad, or a sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets, or a hair care hamper, an Amla hair care hamper from Amca. And to qualify, you just need to call in and share a comment with us. So do call. Gail, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Julie.
Gail Dorr, the author of the book Bully Proof. Now, it's heartbreaking when a parent realizes that the child is being bullied. And I think if you're bullied as a child, it could scar you for life.
It can.
So what was the story with you that you actually went out and wrote a book? I've got the book and unfortunately I haven't brought it along. Otherwise, I'd have held it up to the camera and shared it with our viewers this morning. And I've read the book, but if you're not prepared and your child's being bullied, you do feel terribly helpless and hopeless about the situation. And I think with a lot of parents, the first reaction is that you're going to go back, you're going to go to the school and fight your child's fight. And I should imagine that's the worst thing you could do.
Very much so. But it's understandable. We love our children. When they're being bullied, our first instinct is to protect them. However, when it comes to bullying, it's important for parents to recognize that being bullied is the child's problem, not your problem as the parent. Your role as the parent is to be supportive and to help your child find a way of dealing with the bullying, of putting a stop to it. And that's the hardest thing, because we want to fight their battles for them. But if we do that, they don't learn. Being bullied for a child is tremendously disempowering. They feel helpless, they feel hopeless, they feel as if it's their fault that it's happening. If we as adults rush in and try and solve the problem for them, and leave them out of the equation, leave them out of the solution, they're even more disempowered. Then it's a case of, well, I can't even solve it for myself, I need my mom and dad to fix it for me. And we send a message to our children saying, you can't do this, I will do it for you. In fact, children are not nearly as helpless as they think they are when it comes to bullying. There are a number of techniques that they can use to deflect a bullying attack or stop it in their tracks.
Why are some children soft targets? Why are they picked on? Why are they bullied? Is it almost a message that they give off, some sort of aura that others pick up on? What's going on with that child?
Well, children generally, most children, are not aggressive. They don't want to fight. They have much more fun socializing. Pardon me. And this can be a target for a bully. Let's first start with why a child bullies, and you'll see who is likely to become a target of that bullying. Children who engage in bullying behavior invariably have a very deep-centered or deep-rooted sense of inadequacy. They feel powerless. And the only time they feel really strong and really powerful is when they're putting somebody else down. And they're seeing that hurt and that pain reflected in the other child's face. It makes them feel really big and strong. Therefore, they are going to look for and select children who are less aggressive, who are not likely to fight back, who are the gentle natures, and target them for aggression.
I often wonder when I come across bullies, and I kind of ask myself, is that the type of home you come from? Are you in a home of bullying parents? Do you have horrible parents who are bashing each other up all the time and bashing the children verbally and otherwise, obviously, emotionally, verbally and otherwise. Is that the type of home that the child comes from, or is the child's bullying characteristics and behavior not necessarily reflective of the home he or she comes out of?
It's a bit of both. Home life definitely, pardon me, will play a role. If children see a lot of aggression practiced at home, it's quite natural that they will take that to school. However, there is no hard and fast rule that would say this kind of home life will produce a bully. Because if you have a chaotic, dysfunctional home, that is quite likely to produce a victim of bullying as easily as it would a bully. There are many factors that go in to why a child chooses to bully, and it's physiological as well as environmental. There really isn't a rule. Children learn it from watching others. Children try it out for themselves, find it works, and think, oh, this is a way I can get status, this is a way I can get admiration and respect from people around me, and it works. But by the same token, children who've been in homes where there's a lot of aggression often are fearful and anxious, and that alone can make them a target of more bullying.
I came across a parent once, and she was taking her children for karate lessons, and said the reason she's doing that is not necessarily for discipline, but so that they're able to protect themselves if they find themselves in a bullying situation, and even later on in life. How would you respond to something like that?
I would say that was excellent. Martial arts teaches children, of course, the discipline, but it gives them confidence. Bullies are less likely to pick on a child who is walking up straight, who feels good about themselves, who has a strong sense of self and that inner confidence. They would rather go and pick on someone weaker. So feeling confident changes the way a child moves, changes the way they walk and the way they talk, and does make them less likely to be targeted by a bully. So
they don't become the bullies, do they?
Usually
children
not.
that go for martial art lessons?
Usually not. Martial arts is a lot about respect and about non-violence, in fact. So I haven't ever come across a child who did martial arts who became a bully. I have.
You said earlier on that parents should refrain from going to the bully, approaching the bully and fighting their child's fight.
Correct.
Rather empower them to be able to stand up for their rights.
Yes.
How do you do that? What is it that you say to your children to make them feel that they're empowered, that I can do this, that I can stand tall, and I would be able to tell that guy to, lay off me, and it will be permanent, he or she will lay off me permanently. What is it? What's that message that you give to your child?
First and foremost, children, I like to tell children that they are not responsible. They are not to blame for being bullied. It's not their fault. Bullies like to blame the child and say, well, it's your fault that I'm picking on you because you're an idiot, or you're this, or
you
you're
made
that.
me do it.
Yes. And first step is children realize they are not responsible for what is happening to them. They are not to blame for it. And they have a right not to be bullied. The next step then is I would ask the child, what have you done to put a stop to this? Have you tried anything? Because often children do, and often it's not very effective, but they have tried. And then together with the child, sit down and research the techniques that they can use. There are many. And find one that will suit a child. Telling a child to fight back is not an answer.
Okay.
You don't defeat a bully by becoming one. Fighting back is just what the bully wants. They want to see you arguing. They want to say, no, I'm not that. And don't you do it, putting the fist up. That's exactly what a bully wants. That's the reaction that they want.
We're going to take an ad break, but when we get back, I'm going to ask you, is it possible to reason with a bully? And then we're also going to look at what the teachers and the school can do to support children who are victims of bullies and the reason why you wrote the book. My guest is Gail Dorr, the author of a book called Bully Proof. Unfortunately, she hasn't brought a copy to the studio, so we can't hold it up to the camera to show you what it looks like. But if you have any questions or comments about anything that we discussed on the show this morning, we're happy to hear from you on 011 086 7777. And you could then, of course, stand in line to win one of our giveaways this morning. But let's pay the rent first. Welcome back. We're into the last 15 minutes of the show. We're talking to author Gail Dorr. She's written a book called Bully Proof, and she's very kindly said that she's going to give us a few books to give away, not today, but in our future shows, which means you're going to have to keep on watching Let's Talk to get a copy of the book Bully Proof. We are talking about what makes a bully, what can you do about bullies, especially if your little darling is the victim, of course. So, Gail, back to you. Before we get to all of those questions, what motivated you to write the book Bully Proof?
Well, I taught life skills for just over 25 years. And way back in 2002, a little girl came into my class in floods of tears. And she said, they're picking on me, they're calling me names. And she was just devastated. So I've set aside the lesson plan for the day. And I said to the class, let's talk about bullying. What is it? What's happening? And out came the stories. And in the course of that class, I was asked two questions, which I couldn't answer back then. The first one was by the little girl herself, who said, I'm not the only child at the school that's overweight. Why do they pick on me and not on everybody else? And I didn't have an answer for that. And a little boy put his hand up and said, what makes them do it? Why do they do it? And of course, back then, I didn't have an answer either. So
do you have the answers now?
I did find them. I got researching.
Okay.
And in the course of the research, discovered so much that we can do to put a stop to it in our schools. And part 2 of my book, I focused on bully-proofing your school, how to run an anti-bullying campaign that will, well, we can never eradicate it, but we can certainly put a stop to bullying the moment it raises its ugly head. It's very much doable.
I'm wondering that at the beginning of each school year, should a talk, a discussion in all the different classes not be about bullying? What
Yes.
What constitutes a bully? So the bully sitting in the class will realize, oh goodness me, is that what an ugly person I am? And if you are being bullied, what you can do to deflect the attention from the bully. What is it that you can do?
Well, first and foremost, what schools should be doing. Every school should have a policy about bullying, about how the school will handle such an event. And there does need to be consequences for bullying. Children need to understand what bullying is, the different forms it can take, and what the consequences are. And the school needs to be really strict in terms of, if there is an incident of bullying, these are the consequences. Children need to be able to report bullying anonymously. We forget sometimes as adults that there is an awful amount, a tremendous amount of shame surrounding being bullied. Children don't want to share it, they don't want to talk about it, and they certainly don't want parents or anyone else making a fuss. So a means by which a child can anonymously report bullying at school is very valuable and very helpful.
So what is bullying? For example, if one child calls another child a sissy, or just out of the blue, a once-off event where you get slapped for no reason,
Sure.
Or if your school, your pencils and coloring books, things gets damaged or stolen, is that all bullying?
Not necessarily. We need to differentiate between bullying and normal peer conflict. Bullying has 4 distinct markers or elements to it. The first is that there is an imbalance in power between the bully and the target. Bullies are bigger, stronger, smarter, cleverer, better more academic, more successful on the sports ground, more articulate, has greater social standing. There is a distinct power base that the bully has over the target that is noticeable. Secondly, bullying is not accidental, it's intentional, it is deliberate. It is an act that is designed specifically to cause pain and hurt and humiliation to the victim. Bullying is not a one-off. It doesn't just happen and not happen again. Bullying is repetitive. Once the bully has got a reaction from that target, he or she is going to do it again and again and again. And having done that, the fourth marker is the establishment of terror in the victim and a sense of control by the bully.
Will the bully, if not addressed and supported and counseled at whatever age, if that doesn't happen with the bully, will he or she grow up to become a bully in life and end up being a wife beater or a horrible boss or just screams and rants and raves at people all of the time? Is that the end result for a bully?
The research done overseas, longitudinal studies that were conducted in exactly this, have shown that children who engage in bullying have a strong tendency to get involved in criminal or antisocial behavior in adulthood. So yes, they have learned a kind of behavior. They have learned that they have a sense of entitlement. I want it, you've got it, I'll take it. Whether it's your self-esteem, whether it's your happiness, whether it's your job, your position, whatever, I will take it, I will have it. And that is very much a behavior that gets entrenched and becomes... Children who have bullied in school have often fallen foul of our justice system. That much we do know. We don't have figures to say, I can't quantify that and say how many. But based on overseas studies, it's a distinct problem in terms of growing up and perpetuating that behavior.
Oftentimes, parents are not aware that their child is a bully because no complaints reaches them at home, so to speak, so they're not aware of the situation. That child then grows up to be a bully. Is it too late for intervention for that child? Because he will then go on to get married and become a wife abuser. And then maybe too late. Or is it never too late?
I don't believe it's ever too late. Bullies are not happy people within themselves. And if they are creating problems in adult life, one can talk about their own unhappiness and say, you don't need to continue feeling that way. There are solutions. So yes, provided the individual wants to change, wants to stop the behavior, there is no reason why a good course of therapy, psychotherapy, shouldn't help change that behavior.
Of course, ongoing therapy and support from your loved ones can make all of the difference in any given situation. Sure. Response to your book, Gail, how's it been going?
It seems to be very popular. The feedback I'm getting is that people are finding it helpful, and it's opened up new avenues of thought and new avenues of conversation in terms of what we can do about bullying. Many teachers have been equally traumatized, I think, by having violence and aggression in schools, and have not had a solution, a practical solution, the things they can do to actually put a stop to it. So,
okay, let's take a call. Assalamu alaikum to you and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam. I'm Farida speaking.
Thank you for calling. Your thoughts on the show or anything else you'd like to share with us?
I just want to talk about this bully. My granddaughter is going to school, and she's very shy type of a person. And they all like to bully her because she doesn't answer or fight back or anything. What can I do to encourage her to not to be shy and, things like that?
How old is she?
She's 10 years old.
Okay, Farida, will you listen to Gail on, as she responds to me, and thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Inshallah, we'll try and get a copy of Bully Proof to you.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
leave your details with my producer, and shukran for your call.
Okay. Thank
Gail?
First and foremost, I would like to know what the little girl is doing herself. How is she reacting? If a bully is saying something nasty to her, calling her names, picking on her, laughing at her, making fun of her, what is she doing? Is she crying? Is she slumping into herself the way children do?
She probably is, because the viewer suggested that she's very shy.
Right. So there is a tearful reaction. I would work as a parent with her in practicing not reacting that way, recognizing that what the bullies are saying is not true. They are only saying it to make her cry. So if she can not cry, if she can just put the shoulders back, try and look as bored as possible, like, oh, you're saying that again. And it doesn't bother her.
All right. Could one of the, I'm not sure if this would be reactive or responsive, if she confronts the bully and says, but why are you doing this? Why do you keep doing this to me? But hold that thought. Our next caller, assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, I would like to comment on all the programs I've just been watching, and I really, truly enjoy, you know, the varied and the diverse selection of your
thank
programs.
you.
And it's
Thank
very,
you.
very informative and knowledgeable, and I find that, you know, it suits all age groups. From the school-going child into the adult, so into the adult world. So it is really very good.
Thank you so much. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Hawa Sunday.
Hawa, is there anything else you'd like to? I'm really so grateful for those wonderful words of encouragement. Is there anything specific you'd like to share with us this morning?
Well, actually, I mean, I'm going back now over 40 years, you know, of childhood experiences that I've experienced with bullying and things like that. And it's really something that your subconscious always brings you back to. But I've just had a beautiful reunion with all of those people that, you know, used to intimidate and slander me and things like that. So when I met them, it was just the most amazing thing that could have happened for people to be meeting over 30 years. So what I find was that, you know, forgiveness is one of the most amazing factors. You know, when you see people that you've seen after so many years, you just, you know, forget about all the bad and negative experiences, and you're just so thrilled to see the people again, and to appreciate the fact that Allah has given them and yourself all this, you know, long years of life, and being able to meet up again, and you just forget all those negative experiences. Yes.
Hava, thank you so much
So the
for
program
those.
that I've been watching now about bullying just brought me back to that, and you know.
Well, as long as you're able to forgive and move on, that's
Yeah.
absolutely big on your part. Thank you for your wonderful thoughts, and you definitely will be receiving a wonderful hamper from us. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Gail. Our thought of the day, and then I'll be back just to say my goodbyes. There are many little ways to enlarge your child's world. Love of books is one of the best of all. And on that note, shukran for being with me, and wassalam till Wednesday morning at the same time.
حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا